You may know my name, but you do not know the legend. I protect the innocent.
We owe everything to him.
And in my brave and noble quest for justice, nothing will distract me. Oh.
Finally, cat lovers getting the cat lovers getting the hero they deserve. I mean, come on, let's look at it clearly now.
Really?
Yeah, maybe really.
This is a movie for Cyrus, huh?
This is a movie for Cyrus, but because Cyrus, you agree with me. Let's look at it now. You got Pepe Le Pew. Pepe Le Pew. I mean, he's a skunk, but technically he's a cat. But
You mean like a polecat?
Yeah. Let's get right down to it. He's a rapist. You know what I mean?
Wait, now technically he's a date rapist.
Well, he's an attempted rapist.
Well, that's true.
I saw
He's
all
not
those
very
cartoons,
successful.
and I never really saw him rape anybody.
Yeah.
I don't like where this discussion is going in terms of, oh, Cyrus, you love this stuff.
What's up? We ain't done yet. I mean,
Pepe Le Pew was all about pussy. Let's just put it that
well,
way.
he was. I mean, he ain't no different from many of us, except he was just a little more. It was
You
almost
love
like
cats as much as I do.
Yeah. He
Which
like
is scary.
Just a little different, a little bit of a different way. Though.
Yeah, he liked to date rape, except he didn't like to put the pill in there. He liked a moving, he liked the struggle, the fight, But then you got
He always seemed like he took the pill.
Yeah.
He always looked like he was about to fall over every time
like
he was
took
chasing after these girls.
too much X.
Well, he's just French. That's all. That's where they get it from.
I guess.
Pull out their bone marrow.
I guess so. Good point right there. And then you got the heroic, somewhat cats like Thundercats, but they're all gay. I mean, we can all see it.
Are they?
Yeah, they are. Like, look at them.
I just thought they were mutants because they were practically people. They're more like buff furries.
Well, come on, mutants, gay cats, it's the same thing.
Some hate groups call gays mutants. That's right. I mean,
But Puss in Boots is he's the one that's finally come up. He's got style. He's suave. I mean, this dude could fuck your human girlfriend if he wanted to.
he is the Panocha in boots.
Gato, Pinocho. What's Pinocho?
yeah, Pinocha. What the hell?
That's Puss.
Oh, is that what that is?
Okay.
You just made that shit up.
Look
You
it
don't
up.
know Spanish.
You never heard Panocha?
He's a peyote in boots.
I'm not surprised you never heard of the Panocha.
You didn't know co-host was bi?
What? By dumbass as well?
By awesome.
He's a gato in zapatos.
But no, Cyrus, we say this about you because you do love cats. I mean,
I do.
You wore that keyboard cat T-shirt to death. That cat left that T-shirt you wore so much. You just had a keyboard, no cat on there.
Yeah, now just as a little sign says, out of lunch, we'll be back at, whenever.
That shit said vacancy right there. Get another animal in this position. But no, I wish you could have seen this because as much as you love cats, and look, I love cats too. I love my Dr. Doom to death.
Yeah, you do.
But what
Titty kitty, as I like
Titty
to call
kitty, as Leon loves this to call him, call her, whatever.
Him.
Whatever it is.
Your female cat or boy's name. You can't even get it straight.
You're right about that. No, but Puss in Boots was my favorite character once they introduced him in Shrek 2.
Shrek 2?
Yeah, sure.
Well, you know what? He breathed a lot of life into Shrek 2. Like, to me, Shrek 2 is one of those rare movies where I like the sequel better than the first movie.
Yeah, me too.
And a lot of it is because they introduced this character, Puss in Boots, who fit well, stole his scenes, and yet didn't really take over from everybody else. He just fit in like one of the boys.
Boy,
Yeah.
the Shrek movies kind of turned into like the last gasp of actors we can't stand to see in live action films anymore. Eddie Murphy, Mike Myers, Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
Sure, keep doing the Shrek movies. That's fine.
It's like a graveyard series for
Exactly.
decent actors at one point.
Yeah, it's like the Lazarus pit of actors when they go to be reborn, But Puss in Boots was my favorite. When I heard that they were going to do a spinoff with Puss in Boots, people are kind of groaning because, I mean, let's face it, after the Shrek 2, the Shrek movies, they went downhill major. Now, Shrek the Third was terrible. Shrek 4 wasn't awful, but it was still not up to par with the rest of the series.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
first two at least.
Exactly.
And so I still have faith in Puss in Boots. I love this character so much, and I'm happy to say that if anything can breathe new life into this whole Shrek series, it's a spinoff like Puss in Boots. This thing brings it back to what the first Shrek was, and I would say even better because it doesn't rely on the gimmicks that the first Shrek did. Mainly, they don't have to rely on a bunch of pop culture jokes.
Well, now here's the thing. I won't knock the first two Shrek movies for doing that because that's what they were all about.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say, oh, it relied on that because, hey, that's what Shrek was.
I didn't say I hated them.
But you were trying to put them down saying this is better. But this is itself, it's a good thing in that it doesn't do that. It's like, hey, you know what? We came from Shrek, but we are not of Shrek.
Yeah.
Puss can stand on his own.
I didn't
his
even think
own
about
high
that.
heels.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I've only seen the first Shrek movie because I mean, the second and third and fourth, I kept hearing, at least for the third and fourth, that they were so bad. So I never bothered to try to revisit part two. But I mean, yeah, it is not like a Shrek movie at all, which is good because you know this thing needed its own fucking legs to stand on. Because I mean, going into this, I was like, okay, I hope this thing just hurries up and finishes so I can fucking leave because I just don't give a rat's ass about the whole Shrek series in general. You know.
Well, you put those legs in some high heel boots, it's good again.
Hey, it worked for Prince.
Hey. Pussy always looks good in high
is
heel
this
boots.
now the animal formerly known as Puss in Boots?
This is the cat version of Prince in a way. It wore the same outfits.
Yeah, about the same height.
They both do that thing with their eyes when nobody likes their new album.
I know.
Oh, you're just so cute. I can't take
I know.
it
It's that dearly beloved. There's something else. But this brings back Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots, and it also brings in somebody that Antonio Banderas works well with, but really the casting here, I think, uses them the best as we've ever seen them. And it brings in Selma Hayek as another character called Kitty Softpaws. And that's another good thing about this movie is that there are a lot of voices in here, a lot of celebrity voices, but
Not that many, really.
Well,
it's only about 5.
Well, see, there's 5 is a lot for celebrity voices, but I guess you're right. For DreamWorks, that ain't nothing because DreamWorks will like just scoop celebrities out of the movies and make them do voices for them.
It was like Spielberg was calling markers like nobody's business.
Oh, yeah,
for
but
10 years.
but
Like,
even-
look, we ain't got a script, but we got so many famous people. You gotta.
Yeah,
come
but
see
for this
movie.
right here, though,
More
the
recently,
thing,
Kung Fu Panda 2, that was like The Player or something. There were so many celebrities.
Yeah.
Just, hey, it's me. Okay, I gotta go. I'm going.
yeah, but this right here doesn't feel like they're doing a lot of just casting for the sake
No,
of names. Right here,
exactly.
it seems like they're doing this because it seems like these people will work well together and they fit the characters in the film. And speaking of some of these characters, you have so the story here, because this is a prequel to Puss in Boots. Before,
So there's no Shrek in here, even in a cameo.
No, not at all.
No, this right here,
No hinting to Shrek.
Okay.
we get to learn like the background of Puss in Boots. This is back when Puss in Boots, before he was
The origin.
the hero known as Puss in Boots. He was known as the outlaw, the cad, Puss in Boots. He was always going in.
Harry Pussy.
Yeah.
I know I'm a child, but every time you say Puss in Boots, I just want to go. Sorry. Go
Okay, then you be the one retarded motherfucker.
Grow up, Cyrus.
ahead. We just call it Pib.
Yeah, no, I would not call it that.
Oh God.
Chill
yeah.
out, Beavis.
For this movie, yeah, Puss in Boots. He's out there stealing milk, having sex with people's cats, leaving the scene. He has wanted posters all around the village, and for this, a lot of the village here is, again, it's not like Shrek. It's not like in a Magic Kingdom. A lot of it has a very like Mexican village
Well, it's
motif.
an old Spanish town.
Yeah.
Like Tortuga or somewhere
Yeah.
where pirates blow in ever so often. Now it's still in the fairy tale world because you get a few of those characters, but it's not overloaded with them.
It's no Rango. But
Yeah.
It's still very much.
There's hints of Rango, but it is not Rango.
Yeah, but anyway, so Puss, we learned that he grew up an orphan with another nursery rhyme character. Him and Humpty Dumpty were tight. And they always had this dream of finding the magic frijoles. You know what frijoles is, don't you, co-host?
That's beans, right?
There you go. Yes, the magic beans. I'm just testing y'all's authenticity. Make sure that Mexican chip we put in you works.
Yes,
But yeah,
I love your
they
test.
had this dream of finding the magic beans and going to this castle in the sky and finding the goose that lays the golden eggs.
Goddamn religion.
I know. It's like right. It's about right next to Scientology, but except this is more real, right? but it, as they grow up to be adults, Puss just gives up on the dream. He says, that it's a fable. Can you imagine a fable in a fable land? He's like, that's not real. But Humpty Dumpty, he turns into a fiend. He's like, he's got to find this, and he gets into trouble. Puss tries to go on the right path. They have something that happens in their past that affects both of them, where Humpty Dumpty is rightfully seen as somewhat of a villain. But Puss in Boots didn't do anything. But he's left to like remain an outlaw because of this one thing that Humpty Dumpty has done.
It's been a long time, brother. Maldito huevo. Humpty Alexander Dumpty. How dare you show your face to me? I know you're angry. You have every right. But it is good to see you, Puss. There's new boots? No! They are the same boots I wore when you betrayed me. But betrayed you? You left me cracked in pieces on a bridge, surrounded by soldiers. They wrote a song about it.
And it's really cool to see that they've gone this route of making it a prequel without having to rely on Shrek at all. And that's the strongest thing about this, is that it can stand on its own.
It's interesting because their relationship, there's a lot of elements of it. When they were young, they reminded me of Lex Luthor and Clark Kent.
Yeah.
Of that whole,
told you. Yeah, we talked about that.
When
Like,
it came out.
you know
I
what?
was
That
like,
was,
yeah,
man,
the two of them are buddies, and then that like, hey man, we remember that thing we're gonna do. It's like, no, you got to give that up. We're going straight.
I'm done.
You're my arch enemy now.
Are you
Wait a
saying
minute.
like Humpty Dumpty used to have a full head of hair? Is that what you're saying?
he did.
Yeah, lost
and all
it.
I thought was like, man,
Yeah.
Puss in Boots ripping off Smallville. I
know.
swear to God.
Everybody thinks he's an egg. He's just a head. Yeah. But
I won't say it's ripping off, but like Salma Hayek's character, she's sort of his Catwoman in a way, especially when they start their rivals.
I see her more as Lana, but that's me.
Well, okay, you got to get out of Smallville. Go
It
ahead.
is.
Come over to Batman, where sane people were allegorizing.
She's the female chick in the middle. You got one guy trying to manipulate her, and you got another guy who's trying to woo her, and you know.
But what I will say, I'm not saying it's a ripoff, although it's a little too close to what was going on with them as to reminding me of the fourth Pirates movie, where you had, the guy who was a side character who broke off on his own to have his own movie, Jack Sparrow. And then there you have Penelope Cruz coming in as somebody who is his rival in skill, but then they kind of team up and there's a romantic relationship between them. And I was just like, because I was had this feeling like, wow, I feel like I watched this movie already this year.
Really? I didn't, because I thought, I didn't really think that. I thought, if anything, this is, I think, much more inspired than something like Pirates of the Caribbean or any kind of sequel that I've seen. I think that this is more creative. I mean, if you're going to do a sequel or a prequel, this definitely feels more creative than some of the sequels that I've seen, in the past couple of years. And also, forgot to mention that Zach Galifianakis does the voice of Humpty Dumpty, who I thought was great. I thought it was
Patton Oswalt.
Patton Oswalt at first.
It's weird because there's something about the two of them where it's almost like Paul Giamatti and Philip Seymour Hoffman, where it's like, wait, you can't have them in the same space. Things will blow up. You'll create a singularity. and the whole time I kept thinking it was Patton Oswalt too, but I was like, no, it's not quite. And I can't.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, because he is so like toned down from what he usually does. I mean, I was surprised when I saw his name in the credits, just because I was like, wow, it's like they must have sedated that motherfucker while they were doing this film. Because it could have been anyone besides that Galifianakis. But then again, the chemistry between them really worked, more so than I think any Zach Galifianakis film that he's done with anybody else. It was working here, but that's the good thing about it. You're not distracted by him by the writers writing him just being himself,
or as a man child, like he usually is.
which he usually is. And that works to the benefit. And plus, the other thing is, besides the story feeling somewhat fresh, is because you don't have to see a Shrek movie to understand what these people are talking about when they're referring to other characters. It is its own solo thing, but just the look of it, I was really impressed. Like, looking at this thinking, wow, this could have been made by Pixar, especially during the more incredible moments during the film where I thought they actually took advantage of the CG, the 3D CG for once, to where the fantasy scenes were just awe-inspiring. I was like, wow.
Didn't you feel like in this one, like the human characters actually look better modeled now? Because in Shrek, I don't know, man. They were doing that zombie thing. They just looked that great to me. In this one, I think that the technology has advanced enough to where everything looks so much better, but especially the human characters. And we watched this on IMAX 3D.
Well, the IMAX-ish.
Okay, you hated IMAX. You're talking shit about it. Cole and I was sitting up there, and we were just like, wow. We in fact, being that it's smaller IMAX, we felt more intimate with it because it opens up. The movie's crazy. It opens up with Puss in Boots with his head just filling the screen, and he's looking straight at the camera, and you see his like he almost like he did coke or something. His nostrils are moving, his eyes are darting about, and I was like, this cat is high as hell. But the fur on that cat on that big screen looks so fluffy, man. I just wanted to get up and just kind of just rub the screen. You know? I just wanted to cuddle up with the screen and just rub it.
Or whenever
Who took X?
I was like Pepe Le Pew on the screen.
You know what? Y'all have talked a lot about how good the visuals were and how much you enjoyed the story, but what you haven't really said is how funny was it? Was it really, really funny, or was it like,
You know, I'll say the first like hour of it, I thought was pretty damn hilarious. I thought what they were doing, especially introducing Puss in Boots into this like kind of like Western feel, was great. You see Puss in Boots walk into a bar, and you see all these side gags. And just the characters, like you made a good point about them really fleshing out the look of like the normal looking characters, like the actual humans. Because I mean, you can't really half-ass that anymore. To make that stuff work like it did, and I think they probably watched Rango, and they were probably like, you know what, look at how fleshed out those characters are, to where they're just funny just standing there. And I think they took a hint from that, and they used it to their advantage, because, I mean, it feels like a fleshed out story. It's not like you're looking at just animated fucking walking cats, and they're the only ones who are animated, and everyone else is just background.
Well, that was the thing about
works,
Shrek. It's like all the fantasy characters kind of look pretty cool, but all the human characters just look really rubbery. And in this one, they felt more stylized.
A lot of that is the technology, though, because when Shrek came out, I mean, it was still using what was used for Final Fantasy, and that was the top of the line back then. So they were just using what they had that was short of Pixar.
But yeah, I mean, the thing is, the first hour I thought it was pretty funny. When they get into the story, there's some parts where it kind of lulls for a bit, just because they're getting
lulls?
it. Well, I mean,
Like Lil Cat.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Oh, my
I'm sorry.
The minute he said it, I was like, oh, here it comes. Cyrus is going to pounce on this.
yeah, well, I pounced into that. But,
Don't worry, I already had cheeseburger.
But but as soon as it feels like it's slowing down a bit, I mean, just because they're trying to give some exposition, I thought it picks up, because there's a couple of moments where they do some flashbacks, and I'm always worried about the flashbacks, because you just feel like, okay, this is the part in the film where they could really like slow it down, and I'm like, I don't know how much of this they probably explained in Shrek, but this better be goddamn interesting. And shockingly enough, it was. It was interesting to the point where I was thoroughly enjoying the background stories that they were giving these characters.
What about you, Leon? Did you find it funny?
I did find it funny. Not like
It was so gentle. You're like Phil Donahue over here. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Leon, what about you?
not bowl me over like,
Crossfire.
man, that's one of the funniest movies I ever saw. But
Funny or no, go.
but definitely funny, and funnier than I expected, and it certainly kept me entertained. I do have to agree with co-host. There was like that first hour is really, really good, and in that last 30 minutes, I was feeling a little bit of like, all right, let's just go ahead and get this to the end already.
For me, I would say that co-host is right. For the first hour, I'm laughing my ass off, because they do jokes with everything about a cat that makes me laugh. Like they show the cats leaping like, and then they show the cats like when two cats look at each other, like Puss in Boots is about to like pull off a heist, and there's another mystery cat there, and he's like looking at that cat like, hey, what are you doing here? And that other cat looks at him like, and I was like, okay, they got the mannerisms of a cat down to put in these jokes. But the deal is that, and of course, I love Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. The only thing that's wrong with that is that he's a character with one personality, really. And that can only last for so long. I mean, it starts to wear down.
It gets gimmicky.
Yeah, it does. It wears down. It really, honestly, it can't carry a whole movie, but they're smart enough to bring in a cool action set piece when that happens. Billy Bob Thornton and Amy Sedaris in this movie play Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill in this version of this world, they're two murderous bandits who hold the magic beans. They're like two big rednecks. Billy Bob Thornton, imagine that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Billy Bob Thornton really had to stretch for this one.
Yeah.
It's like of all the voices, his is the one you go like, I know who that is.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
And it was the most disturbing too, because the whole time I was like, okay, I think in the Jack and Jill fable, I don't think they're related, but in this movie they look related, and it looked like they were fucking just inbred family.
They're married brothers and
they're
sisters.
talking about having a family, and I'm like, okay, this is getting real creepy, gross
they're
territory.
incestuous, but they're straight out of a Western, man. That Outlaws right out of a Western.
are.
They're just big, like he's incestuous hillbilly rednecks.
Yeah.
They're Jack and Jill only because those characters hadn't been used.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
yes.
but you know
Jack
what?
looks like nasty canasta.
Yeah, but they use them well, and so a lot of this does pull from westerns. It's almost like they did look at Ringo and say, "Hey, this would be a good thing to do with Puss in Boots." And they have like these incredible action scenes where like they're driving a stagecoach, and it's that classic scene of them driving on the path of a cliff, high up in canyons, and it's those scenes where that's where the 3D really works too. So yeah, it balances itself out pretty well. When the funny can't carry the whole movie, they bring in an action scene. If the action scenes don't work, they show some great set piece like a giant magic castle in the sky.
And worst case scenario, Puss makes his eyes all big, and you go, oh.
And if not
stay mad at
the
you.
moment I get bored, like, damn, Cole, this is getting boring. I look at the screen. Oh, I can't be mad at this movie.
And that's what's going to suck, because the thing is, if this movie is a lot more successful than the Shrek movies, I mean, it's going to get a sequel. But I mean, after watching this, I mean, you're right. They used about every camp mannerism you can think of, to where I'm like, okay, wow, they did that perfectly in the scenes. It wasn't forced.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, I have no idea what they're going to do with the sequel if they go back in that territory.
This was the prequel, so they can go post Shrek and make it where it's modern day. And there are dogs that are evil, and so they get all these spy gadgets, and they both like are spies that have to fight each other. That sounds great, right?
No.
Wow, where have I heard of this piece of shit before?
Now, you guys have been in this business long enough to know that if they do a sequel, it's going to be him and Kitty Softpaws get married, and they have a litter of cats, and it'll be kitties and slippers going out and fighting.
It'll be like
crime.
Air Bud.
Yeah, exactly.
Spooky kitties. But man,
Puss in Boots Christmas. Christmas with the
Puss in
family.
Booties. Yeah, but man, out of all the stuff that I love about this movie, they do manage to still they can't help it. They sneak in some pop culture stuff. Some of it works, some of it doesn't. Like they managed to bring in a Fight Club reference. And I'm like, that's so obvious. You shouldn't do that. But then they do some stuff that refers to cat videos on YouTube. Like they have, I won't name any, but they fit in OMG Cat. Pretty funny in there. And that's a joke that repeats itself several times in the movie. And it made me laugh every time.
They've got
I
my
laughed
money
every time, too.
They have my money.
That was
You've
hilarious.
just, I don't pay for movies anymore, but I will pay for that.
This is a better than sex movie for you. And another thing is that I was saying, please don't end this movie with them dancing. And they did. But the dancing fits the movie. They ain't doing stupid stuff like the Macarena or anything like that. So when they did the dancing, there's even one scene in here, like an amazing dance sequence that I thought was pretty funny. And I thought it was going to go down south when I saw it, and I was like, oh, not again. But they made it work.
Yeah. It was more like Dancing with Stars. I wasn't going to add cats in there because I don't want Cyrus reacting.
Give Puss in Boots about 5 years. He is going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
Their real life counterparts have been on that goddamn show, I think. But
Yeah. I mean, you're talking about a sequel. Keep making Puss in Boots sequels. As long as we don't get a donkey spinoff, for the whole movie. I'm fine with that.
Having to sit through that.
I think you just made it.
Now,
I give it some more booze.
This is the moment I even see that donkey on that screen. And the fact thing is, I love donkey, but I could choke the shit out that donkey.
It's one of those things where I liked the first Shrek movie, but it seems like I've avoided the disaster of 3 and 4. So much that I'm like, okay, I just have no business ever watching it. So.
And this is, the funny thing is that this is directed by Chris Miller, the guy who did Shrek the Third.
Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
the worst Shrek movie.
Well, I heard it was also
I guess he wanted to apologize. He's like, look, guys, I can do it. Really, trust me.
Well,
Let me take the easy one with the cute cat.
Yeah.
Well, I heard it's produced by Guillermo del Toro, which I heard that they were making this around the same time they were making the fourth Shrek movie.
You know what?
And that's why they did the prequel, because they didn't want anything to, kind of get fucked up while they were making the fourth.
Well, yeah, all those Shrek purists would be like, no, that's not possible. Puss in Boots couldn't have been there because at the time he was with Shrek.
If Guillermo del Toro had done this, Puss in Boots would have had tentacles coming out of
Yeah,
his
that's what tentacles. Or no human pelvises in the decor.
There would have been a little kid that died at the end.
Puss in Boots would have been fighting Cthulhu or something. But Guillermo del Toro does do a couple of voices in the movie, so that's possible.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does Commandante, and I think one of the guys in the bar at the beginning with the mustache. So he did do a voice in this. So so it's possible that he could do this. Man, look, if I have any complaints about this, and I named some, it's nitpicking for me. I don't know, man. I had a lot of fun with this. It made me laugh. I thought that it was, action packed. I thought it was exciting. And fuck, man, it's a cat in boots, a cat in high heels. I mean, and they made it work. I really enjoyed this film. I give it a high full price.
Wow. Dang. I did like the film a whole lot. And I got to say, like, right after Shrek 2, when they announced all the things they were going to do, 2 more Shrek movies, a Christmas special, and sequels, and a Puss in Boots sequel, of that list, the Puss in Boots sequel was the only thing I thought might have a chance. So it might be some good. Mm-hmm. And it turns out it was. It was a lot of fun. It was better than I even expected because they've been running the ground with those damn concessions commercials. Good Lord. And the first hour of it is so funny. But, you talk about nitpicking. It was something like, I don't want to say the movie's unoriginal, but then there were so many things, other movies and things it just kept reminding me of. I'm like, wow, here's a piece of Rango. Here's some of Tangled in here. With pirates. It's just so many different things where I'm like, you know what? I would enjoy this more if this was like the first time I'm seeing it, but it's like revisiting a lot of old territory. Still a lot of fun, great to look at. Not as good looking as Rango, but still, better than most of the things we've seen. Pixar Eat Your Heart Out again. I give the movie a very high matinee.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Where it was definitely stepping on some familiar territory, but I mean, the biggest shocker was that it was actually enjoyable because, like I said, I was kind of groaning like going into this, especially having to fucking wake up in the morning for this, and I'm like, oh god, this goddamn talking cat in fucking boots with a feather in his head and a bunch of screaming kids. Oh, I can't wait,
But Cyrus isn't even going to be there for me to glare at.
Cyrus telling me how much he fucking loves cats again. But but the thing is, the 3D was pretty goddamn like just wow. There's some definitely gorgeous moments in there. I'm sure this art book is going to look fucking incredible when it comes out. If what DreamWorks even does art books, but I mean, I really enjoyed the Antonio Banderas like playing this cat. There wasn't a single moment where I was like groaning with some of these movies I do sometimes where they're just forcing out jokes because they know that their audience is comprised of a bunch of kids. Mm-hmm. And I like that, it was smarter than that. But I'm going to give it like a full on matinee. Like I said, I mean, if I think it's full price for the kids, definitely.
Yeah.
But for me, just like I said,
what you trying to say about
story,
me?
If you have a mind of a child,
It's childish.
Plus, you're a cat guy too.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, other than that,
you just don't talk about it as much as I do.
Exactly.
I don't think you'll kill yourself, especially if you've been burned by those Shrek movies too. Because I'm also wondering like, wow, how much movie is going to really rely on the strength of the Shrek series? That's going to be really interesting. But it was fucking enjoyable. I'm
going to downgrade my review. No, I'm going to bring it down to just a full price. Because now I'm feeling like I am one of those crazy cat women.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, this is the movie that cat women are just going to show up in throngs. So at midnight, you're going to see like big women in the stretchy pants wearing this, and that's who really is going to suffer because of this movie if it's a hit. All these poor cats that belong to these women, man. All these women going to get these cats dressed up like little Captain Morgans. These cats are going to be
right. I love cats, but you're not supposed to put them in outfits.
No,
that's against the rules.
Yeah, that's just abuse right there. I mean, to dress them up is one thing. To dress them up like a gay pirate is another thing. These cats are just going to be like, help me,
When the world is in danger, only one hero
Buzz, watch out!
has what it takes. No! Holy frijoles. To fill these boots.
That's a lot of heel for a guy, don't you think?
9 lives.
Arrest them! You got any idea what they do to eggs in prison? I'll tell you this. It ain't over easy.
One destiny. My name would become legend.